What's happening, guys? I'm back once again. You are tuned into the Pharaoh's Vessel on a very dodgy angle with the mat. I will apologise because the camera setup's not exactly amazing tonight, or today rather. So you can even see just a little bit of my sofa up here, look, as well. So I've got you diagonal at the minute, sort of thing. Right, so basically I'm bringing you another deck profile today, guys. Today's deck profile is going to be the wonderful, magical, fantastic Melffys. Let me try and kill that camera, that light, to see if I can make it better. Didn't really make things much brighter, but okay, I'll have to just make do. I do really need to get a better webcam. So we're going to bring Melffys today. I'm going to dive straight into the video. Let me move that back slightly so that every time I do something, I'm not banging. I'm also trying to find out why this table's not very stable. Probably the floor. Okay, I'll just have to make do. So starting us off today on the profile, guys, we have 3 copies of Melffy Wally. Melffy Wally is absolutely fantastic. It's broken. Actually, tell a lie, it's not 3 copies, it's 2 copies, but for some reason I put the puppy there. So he's absolutely disgusting. So if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can return this card to your hand and basically summon out 2 Melffy monsters with different names from your hand deck. That's it, just hand the deck. Sorry, just trying to read the cards as I go along. It's been so long since I played Melffys, I'm a bit unsure. But during the end phase of any turn, you can special summon this bad boy straight out. All the Melffys have the ability to return to hand. All the Melffys have the ability to summon themselves out during the end phase of either turn. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Melffy Puppy. Melffy Puppy's return effect states that when he is returned, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck, except for Melffy Puppy. So I don't need to go into too much with these at the moment because, like I said, they've all pretty much got the same effects. 2 copies of Melffy Catty. Melffy Catty lets you get 1 beast monster, but it doesn't say of any sort of level. So there is a target. We'll get to the targets later. But 2 copies of Melffy Catty, and you summon you add a beast from your deck to your hand. We are running 2 copies of Pony. So Pony is if your opponent normal special summons a monster except during the damage step, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return this card to your hand. Then you can add 1 level 2 or lower beast monster from your graveyard. So it's basically your searcher to get back from graveyard. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Melffy Penny. Penny is your synchro, if you like. He is a beast tuner of level 2, as you can see, just about on the screen. Let me see if I can adjust this camera and bring it. If I bring it down, if it'll get brighter. Or more helpful, I should say. Try and turn the light on if I can as well. Does that help? Not really. You still can't really see the cards. I do apologize for the grainy quality, unfortunately, guys. I do need to get a decent camera, because this one just doesn't seem to be doing the job, unfortunately. But basically, Penny does exactly the same. If his face-up beast you control was returned to the hand this turn, except Melffy Penny, so it has to be a different Melffy, not this one, sorry. You can special summon this Melffy from your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 synchro monster using only this card you control and Melffy monsters in your hand. So it's a good one because it lets you quick synchro, but obviously you've got to try and get into it as well. 1 copy of Fenny. The 1 copy of Fenny does pretty much the same thing. So, well, not the same thing as Penny, but you can return this card to the hand. Then you can special summon 1 beast monster from your hand, except for Melffy Fenny. So it's basically just a swap of that one. 1 of the Manillas, which is Rabby. We do like 1 copy of Rabby because Rabby doesn't have an effect, cannot be special summoned like the rest of the Melffys, but he is 2,100 defense, so he's just a blocker on the field. Let me kill that light, actually, because that's not helping at all. I need to get a decent light, really, or try and clear this camera a bit. So that's the Melffys for the deck, guys. Next up, we run 1 copy of Kitty Tail. I'm not going to do too much on the whole video of what they do and everything else now, because obviously the camera's not the best. But 1 copy of Kitty Tail. We've got 2 copies of Calantosa, Mystical Beast of the Forest. So when this card gets special summoned by an effect of a beast-type monster, you could target 1 card on the field and destroy it. We run 2 copies of Valeraphon. Valeraphon is a level 2 tuner, and basically it's one of the go-to cards to go into the extra deck, which we'll go into later. This card is also known as Bambi to my now ex-partner. This was her deck, but unfortunately, after our unfortunate split, it was pretty much the one thing I took back from her. We do run 2 copies of Mind Mole because they are a level 3 beast. They're brilliant for going into our extra deck, which we, as I've already explained, we'll go into later. But if you play this as a normal summon, it cannot be destroyed by battle the first time it gets attacked each turn. And if this card is sent to the graveyard for the synchro summon of a beast monster, you draw a card, which is an effect that I do forget almost every time I use it. Next up is our Melffy Catty target, Rescue Cat. Rescue Cat's great because it's a discard card. You discard it to the graveyard and you can special summon 2 level 3 or lower beast monsters, which then his targets then become Mind Mole and Valeraphon. So it's a great little helper there. I do run a single copy of Rescue Ferret because he allows me to shuffle cards I control back into the deck and then special summon monsters from the deck except for Rescue Rabbit, whose total level stars equal the same. Yada yada. We know what it does. One copy of Fabled Cerebral. It is a tuner level 2, so if this card does get discarded to the graveyard, you can special summon it. So, okay, you're going to discard it from my hand, whatever, I'll just special summon it instead. One copy of Alpha, because if your opponent has more monsters with higher attacks than you do, why wouldn't you want to special summon him? And of course, 3000 is absolutely busted as well. Next up, we have the last of the monsters for the actual hand, which is 3 copies of Ash Blossom, just because hand traps are everywhere these days. You've got to run hand traps. 3 copies of Ash Blossom just to stop your opponent from doing much. Into spells and traps, we have 2 copies of Melffy Steering Contest. Melffy Steering Contest is a great card because you can reveal 1 beast monster in your hand, add 1 Melffy monster with a different name from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and then you put the card that you originally revealed into the deck at the bottom. Also, during the battle phase on your opponent's turn, if your opponent tries to battle, you can reveal any number of Melffy monsters across the back of your field, and your opponent's monsters will lose attack and defense equal to the amount that, of attack and defense you've got added up as a whole. So, great little card. Next up, we run 2 copies of Hide and Seek. Again, it's continuous, so it stays on the field. The first time each beast monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect. Sorry, just card effect, not battle. It is not destroyed. You can target 3 beast monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them back into your deck. So it's a great way of keeping your deck recycled every turn. We run 1 copy of Melffy Tag because you need Melffy Tag. Because if you don't want to do something, you're going to want to swap it out. You're going to want to go into your Melffy Tag. We have 2 copies of Ayers Rock. I like Ayers Rock. A lot of people don't agree with the option of me running Ayers Rock, but I think it's great because I can special summon... target 1 beast monster in my graveyard and special summon that target. And then if I do, all face-up monsters my opponent controls will lose 200 attack for each beast monster or winged beast monster currently in my graveyard. By the point that I normally get to Ayers Rock, I've got a lot in there. It helps quite a lot. 2 copies of Obedience Schooled. Great card to have because it lets you special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast monsters from the graveyard. It does nullify their effects, but to be fair, you only really use this as part of a chain anyway, so you would get that onto the field, activate it, you would go looking into your extra deck, try and get yourself a copy of that one out. Sometimes it doesn't really matter, but you go for pretty much any of your Melffy cards really on top of your Bellerophon there, and you quick synchro after that into something else. So it's another good card to have. I do run 1 copy of Scapegoat. Enough said, don't really need to go into the details on that one. And 1 copy of Forest, because who wouldn't want their beasts to be worth more on the field? And then finally, next up, we've got the traps, guys. So the traps we run are Melffy Playhouse, 1 copy of, because, why wouldn't you? You detach any number of materials from Beast XYZ monsters you control, and then you can target up to that many monsters your opponent controls and return them to the hand. So it's, why not? I do run 1 copy of Magic Cylinders. Obviously, because I've got cylinders, I've got to have cylinder. Don't need to really explain those because they're quite generic these days. We do have 2 copies of Standard Mirror Force and 1 copy of Grand Horn of Heaven, just to finish it off with. And then finally, guys, we have a wobbly table and the extra. What can I wedge something underneath there? Give me a second, because that table wobbling is really getting on my nerves. Did that help? Nope. Let's try one more time. Might as well do it because I'm going to be on the videos for a bit now, so I might as well. Nope, that's not helping much. Maybe one more fold should help. No, it's going to make it really worse. That's better. There we go. So, sorry about that. Right, finally, extra deck. Extra deck, we have one copy of Naturia Beast, because Beast is just absolutely disgusting. One copy of Naturia Barkion. Yeah, the reason you can't see the picture, guys, is because it is, in fact, the Ghost Ray. One copy of Naturia Landois. Now, a lot of people, again, have gone to me, well, why are you running Landois? It's a brick. It's hard to get out. It's like, yeah, but once it's out, you ain't activating effects. So it's a pretty much easy shutdown. So your Beast, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and then you can stop your opponent from activating the spell. Barkion, banish 2 cards from the graveyard, lets you stop a trap. Then Landois is, if I remember, you send a card from your hand that's a spell, and you stop a monster from activating its effects, and then you negate it. So, quite a nice one. Another synchro we run is the Herald of the Arc Light. We do happen to run a copy of Merry Melffy's because it's a Melffy deck, you've got to run it. Next up, 2 copies of Joyous Melffy. I'm not going to go into too much about what these cards do, but again, it's one of those, you can return this card, etc. But if I got to remember which one's which now. So, Joyous Melffy's is the one where you discard 1 card from it, from the material on it. You can then attack your opponent directly this turn, as long as it's a Melffy card. And then you've got 2 copies of Melffy of the Forest, which is I think if I remember right, you discard it and you stop your opponent from attacking. And we do run 1 copy of Melffy Mommy. She has several effects. So Melffy Mommy is a 2 level 2s, or 2+ level 2s, beast monsters. And then it's got effects for each one. So if you use 3 or more materials, this card can't be destroyed by battle. If you use 4, you take no battle damage involving this card. If you use 5, when an attack is declared involving this card and an attack position monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attacking monster's attack by half. So it's a nice little card. One of my personal favourites in this deck is this card here, number 64, Ronan Raccoon. He is absolutely broken because in this deck, if your opponent, say, has pulled out their Magia and they've already got rid of their effect to negate a monster's effect this turn, you could take 1 material from this card and create a 5,000 attack monster using a token. We do run, or I do run, it's only because I don't have a copy of Shiraig, but I run 2 copies of Farajit. You're better off with 1 copy and then a copy of Shiraig, but I don't have a copy of Shiraig, so I've never put one in. And finally, 1 copy of Rugal. But that is it, guys. That is the Melffy deck. A nice quick 20-minute profile video for you. I do apologise about the lighting. I do apologise about the camera. I'm going to get that looked at in a moment because it's not supposed to look so dull. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's helpful. I hope it's helped you decide if you want to play Melffys. I've used these at a competitive level, and I think my average was like 2 wins, 2 losses in a night. So it's a mid deck. It's not amazing, but it can hold its own. Yeah, go give it a try, guys. Have a look, see what happens. It's a very casual deck. It's not really a meta deck, but it's fun to play. And then it's great watching your opponent's face as you summon things back and forth and just put them back in your hand. But for now, I'm going to leave the video there. Thanks for watching. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.